After retiring, my mother became melancholy. She wandered aimlessly around the house all day, constantly calling me and complaining about one thing or another. At first, I listened patiently. After all, the person had been in demand for so many years, was always surrounded by people, and now was forced to hang around within four walls. But when my mother began to complain about complete nonsense, like the heroine of her favorite TV series not acting the way our pensioner wanted, I began to boil. Outwardly, I did not show myself in any way, but after conversations with my mother, which were more like pouring from empty to empty, I felt worse and worse. Finally, I could not stand it and complained to my friend Lera. Like, my mother retired, now she eats me and my father alive. My friend blinked at me. And you enroll her in modeling school? I stared at Lera dumbfounded. Then she slapped herself on the forehead. Of course, how could I forget? Last week, Donatella Versace called, asked when mom could come to Milan for the show. You've gone completely nuts, Lurka. What other modeling school in her 7th decade? The friend was offended. I'm not crazy. I saw an ad in the newspaper that the employment center had come up with some special program for pensioners. I'll show you now. Lurka reached for her phone and went to the website of the local newspaper. Indeed, such a program had recently opened in our city. A local designer, an older lady, decided that her peers were unfairly deprived and created a clothing collection for those over 60. Who will show a young girls? Asked a friend. Your mother still looks very good. Fit, without excess weight. Just right for such a project. I shrugged. Of course, it would be interesting to try. But how would I tell my mother about this? The solution was found quickly. The same Lera suggested that I lie a little. Like, let's tell your mother that the local designer, the one who creates clothes for pensioners, needs support from the target audience. Our mothers can walk to Antarctica for an idea. It will definitely work, Lera convinced me. And she was right. At first, my mother made excuses. Like, what kind of a retired model am I? Don't make me laugh. And when I said that the person needs help and support, my parent perked up. Why didn't you say earlier that someone needs saving? To our great surprise, Mom felt light and free on the catwalk, as if she hadn't worked as an accountant for 30 years, but always walked in elegant high-heeled shoes. The creator of the collection of clothes for pensioners almost prayed to Mom. You, she said, are my star. Everything was fine until Dad realized that Mom no longer suffered at home, but enjoyed the style and fashion of haute couture. He began to be indignant. What is this, they say, where have you ever seen decent women walking on stage in beautiful clothes? And there is no point, they say, in these shows of yours. The pensioners will continue to sit at home and in their daches, Dad said bitterly once. Everything, they said, is useless. At first, Mom and I brushed off his complaints. And when my father's mumbling became completely unbearable, I sent him there to become a model. Dad, when he heard my proposal, almost fainted. He even lost the power of speech, stood there and moved his lips like a fish on the shore. Well, I said, it's easy to criticize. You try to stand next to your mother and promote the idea of active longevity to the masses, like the creator of a clothing collection for pensioners does. Anyone can shout from the couch. Dad scratched the back of his head and then drawled that it was possible to try. Let the men in the garages laugh, he said. You can suffer for such an idea, Dad added. You know, he did it too. All my friends and colleagues are in complete shock. Some even began to persuade their relatives to become models. Now Mom and Dad work with one modeling agency. They have all their weekends scheduled because shows are held in all the nearby regions. The designer's idea that pensioners deserve to dress beautifully and inexpensively has become very popular. She and her models are constantly invited to television and even promised to be filmed in a story for a federal channel. That's how my parents were bored by the window, and now they travel around the region and neighboring regions, convincing their peers to live an active life. Thank you all for watching. Please don't forget to support with likes and subscriptions. Bye.